Dude, good morning. I'm excited.
Good morning.
This is going to be awesome. Guest co-host, Mr. Cole Buckner over here. This is going to be a good time. Guys, welcome to the Drag Driver Pete News presented by Summit Racing for August 22nd, 2026. It's absolutely insane how fast this year has gone. Got a good show today. We have updates from Sick Michigan Miles. We have Dragway Rush. We have Cruise and Lose, all three happening right now. We're also going to talk about Devin Vanderhoof and the Mustang going racing at PDRA. Ryan Hargett added a third shock to the Camaro and a tongue weight sensor. Thought that was super freaking cool. Can't wait to learn more about that. And then we're going to talk about Fast and Furious. Dude, it came out last night, and it's going to be wild. So I'm going to hit this intro, and then we're going to get to this thing. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, guys, like I said, welcome to August 22nd's Drag Driver Pete News presented by Summit Racing. Guest co-host this morning, Mr. Cole Buckner. Guys, if you don't know, my name is Mike Narks. I am the host of this news and the show that happens on Wednesday nights. But Cole, tell us what's up, dude. Tell us what you got going on, man.
Cole Buckner, guest co-host for the day and host of our Live from the Shop live stream weekly. Usually it's Thursdays, probably moving it to Tuesdays, but nice. Just here hanging out this morning.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be awesome. Well, you know how we kind of make this thing work here? It's Race Car Friends. And I just want to say a big shout out to one of the Race Car Friends who jumps on your live stream, I would say regularly, maybe not often, but regularly, Mr. Jan Haas. So one of our longtime Race Car Friends started doing Drag and Drives with us in 2020. So super freaking cool. Appreciate him and all he does for the community. But guys, hit the share button as we jump into here. We've got a lot to do this morning, so I'm going to keep rolling on this. You know, we can't do this without our sponsors. So if you guys are shopping, we'd love for you to hit these folks up. We have just a few more days left on the discount codes I have for Summit Racing, which is 50 off 500 or 100 off 1,000. Hit me up if you need those. I carry those in my backpack and my pocket. I have those on me all the time. So if you need one, holler. We've got Summit Racing, of course, our title sponsor here at the show and news, and of course at the circuit, our big event every year. Deechworks, the official fuel delivery of Drag Driver Pete, and the title sponsor for the short circuit coming up at the beginning of November. Can't wait for that. Molly Motorsports, of course. Best Pistons in the game, running Molly Motorsports in Eric's Mustang. Can't wait to release that thing. Driven Racing Oil, of course. Those dudes are so busy. Michael Neal is at another event. I've been talking about this. He's been on the road for 3 weeks. He said he will not be home for 20 days because he's out going to events and things like that with Driven. So pretty freaking cool. And, of course, Howard's Cams, the official Valve Train sponsor of Drag Driver Pete here. I mean, Luke B and the boys over there are awesome. JWire Solutions, which Cole and I were just talking about before the show. I'm really trying to figure out how I'm going to get by in CJ this coming weekend. We'll talk about that in a minute. AFCO Racing Products, of course, more than just suspensions, cooling brakes, all that kind of stuff. Performer Built Transmissions, which is the baddest GM transmission builder on the planet. I mean, they put a 4L60 in the 7s, bro. Like a 4L60, you hear me? Not an 80, 4L60 in the 7th. Car Chains 3D printed products. I mean, this guy is awesome. We're going to talk about some of his new stuff for the Fox Body guys here in just a minute. And, of course, Low Dollar Motorsports. Anything you need to go faster, those guys have it for your sensor stuff. You need to see your shock travel data. You need to see any kind of pressure you're building, anything, anywhere, they've got it set up there. So we will we'll let Mr. Brian Lones tell us about what Summit has going on, and then we're going to talk about one of the coolest posts I think they've made in a little while.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Dude, I see Jeff Kirchick over here saying good morning and that he's tuning in from the passenger seat of Andrews Fairmont on Sick Michigan Miles. So freaking cool, man. Good luck to you guys. That's awesome. I'm sad to hear that it got rained out today, but we're working on diligently trying to figure out if we can make it to Mid-Michigan Motorplex Sunday before racing stops.
Oh, we got Joey Marshall from Michigan Miles tuning in also.
Heck yeah, man. Bring it on, dude. Good luck, Joey. That's awesome. And then my mom in here popping in saying hi this morning. Oh, Derek Putnam just saying, morning, gentlemen. Unfortunately, weather has canceled our plans for Lapeer today. Onwards to checkpoints and on to Mid-Michigan Motorplex. Man, that's so cool. That's an event that's going to be on my list. I don't know if that will become an annual event for them or if they will, kind of get back to their normal format. But that's on my list for sure. Being able to drive 1,000 miles inside of a state is pretty impressive. All right. So Summit Racing made a post yesterday, said, what's the one part you refuse to cheap out on? And 142 comments, bro. This is kind of an important one, right? So I wanted to be thinking about this while we run through a few of the answers here. Of course, Andrew, who, checking in a while ago, says roll cage, an ill-fitting roll cage will ruin an otherwise beautiful car. He is 100% correct, but then also definitely unsafe. But the one answer that everybody gave, are you ready for this? Everything. And that to me hurts my heart because, man, there's so many times where people are like, no, I'm going to spend X amount on this X part and it's the best that's out there, and then that car sits for years and years while they save up money and get all that stuff together. So what's your answer, sir?
The thing I learned recently, I see the second answer is brakes, which is a good one, but I went through this recently is plumbing.
Oh,
so I ran like Amazon special oil lines, and it didn't hurt the motor or anything, but like I was just constantly fighting seepage and leaks. And so this go around on the rebuild, finally got a hold of Red Horse and got all new oil lines. And so far it's been great.
That's a good answer, dude. I would have not thought about that, but you know what? As I think about it now, the transmission lines on the old truck are beginning to seep, and I'm sure that's what it was. I just bought whatever cheap hose that came out,
Yeah, the only thing cheap plumbing wise on the car now is my breather lines because those don't really matter a whole lot on an NA build.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting, man. Cool. See Tom Bagley out there says he's filming pro mods and sportsman cars this weekend at Santa Pod. Man,
dude,
another track I got to get to at some point. This for me, this is hard because a lot of the stuff I buy is kind of middle of the road or lower. Typically I'm trying to just get it back on the road. My stuff's pretty easy. I mean, a turbo stock bottom in LS doesn't need much when it's only making like 13 to 14 pounds. So pretty easy there. But I would say the one part that I did not skimp on that I got way more than what I needed was a torque converter. So the old truck has like a triple disc lockup. I mean, it doesn't need any of that doesn't need that much torque converter for what I'm doing with it. It's bolt together. I mean, it's the nicest one they had. And, the only reason I bought it is because I had a buddy that made me deal on one. So, oh yeah, Jesse has it. I think cooling fans are one you can't cheap out on. That's a great thing because, dude, if you spend the right money on electric fans, it's a game changer. Eric White in here this morning. Spending some time with the family this weekend. That's why we have our guest co-host, Mr. Cole, in here. So glad to do this. All right, dude, let's keep moving on. Of course, when you guys are in on summitracing.com or in on the app, you can type in Drag Drive Repeat and come across our shirts, our hoodies, which if you're anywhere in America, you don't need a hoodie right now. That's for sure. 174 degrees, I think, today. But they've got big brim hats, baseball caps, which I ordered me a new one the other day. I had completely ruined the last one I had, so have a new one on the way. And of course, moving on to some Drag Drive Repeat updates. Dude, have you been messing with this Track Buddy app at all?
Oh, dude, I love that app. I wish I was going to the track more just to use it more.
I've been under a rock. And I'll say this, Chris Wozniak has wore me out. He's like, dude, you got to start messing with this thing. He's like, as much as you love data, this thing works. I don't drag race a whole lot. I drive a whole lot. And the one thing we didn't really think about in aspects of like how this app works for guys like me that just want to drive their car, and drag racing is a secondary thing to me, maybe even third thing to me, to be honest. is the ability to track all the stuff, like to put my photos into certain folders and do all that kind of stuff with it, which for me, that will help a lot. So we're actually working on doing some stuff around this with the circuit. Like we actually may have a code that we put out for the circuit that will allow you to, save your photos and folders for the event. So it's much easier to come up with your route stops and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be kind of fun. But one thing he said for guys that tune their stuff and are like high level tuning is there's a way to save your file to the pass. Now, for guys like me, I'm dumb. I don't tune my own stuff. But there's a lot of guys that I can't imagine trying to figure out the naming convention for a tune. Like if you change your tune 5 times at a track,
right,
and you're trying to keep up with all this stuff, like, dude, how do you do it? You could save it in with that single run. You can do 4 files in with each run. So I thought that was pretty cool and a great way for a lot of folks to jump in there. Oh, Miss Tanya Graviak in here this morning. And then Kevin Schweitzer says, buy once, cry once, buy the good stuff the first time around for the Summit stuff. This is it's probably good, especially for him running a 7-second Godzilla powered Fairmont wagon. All right. And then, Mr. Rich Guido in here this morning saying, love that app. And that's a guy that can use this thing and knows what he's doing tuning wise and knowing all the data. You can put the air pressure you have in your tires and all that kind of stuff. So super cool. So I've been messing with that a whole bunch. If you guys want to get involved with this, we have some things coming down the pipeline. We're going to help Chris work this into more popular stuff, help as we can. And of course, Chris is a longtime drag and drive racer and friend of the channel here. So, but last night, bro, see these photos, but I want to show you that. So I went and watched the Fast and Furious re-release in theaters. Took my cousin who's next to me, and then my daughter, and then her friend who are 13 years old, and then my wife at the very end down there. So we all went. It was fun. It's a community charitable event for my neighbor hosts, I think, on Cruise Ozarks. He put on this car show kind of hangout deal, silent auction, all this kind of fun stuff, right? So we went in there. We watched it, completely rented out the theater, all that kind of fun stuff. Eric and his family are on the other side. They went and had fun watching it. But you are telling me, dude, how old were you in 2001?
2001, I was 6 years old.
Oh my gosh, bro. That's insane. That's insane. I was a man when this came out. I was working, selling cars, making my own money. Pretty interesting stuff there. So it's funny how much older I am than you. But this thing, it was a blast to go and do that. But one thing that was really cool is for a long time, I hosted car shows locally. And when these movies would come out, so like from Fast 5 to like Fast 8, we hosted a car show with every premiere. So it's really fun. So the Mustang that's on the right side of the screen that you guys are looking at here has been at all of the premieres since we started doing that at Fast 5. This car has gone from like just a regular Mustang GT to now this crazy airbagged, blown. It's so wild. It's so wild. And it's so much fun. So big shout out to Juan Perez for coming out and doing that. And then Jason's Pro Detail bringing the Ferrari, bro. Like, let's be honest. This is badass.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So as he pulls up, dude, he puts this thing on the limiter and like so many people inside were like, oh, I wish I'd gotten the photo 10 minutes before this, man. I bet there was 100 people around this thing. So you're talking about you may have a babysitter tonight, and you and the wife maybe go watch this.
Yeah. We'll see how he's doing. He's been fighting allergies the last few days, so we'll see if he's feeling up to having a babysitter, and if so, we'll go catch the movie. That one, and I think the second one are the only ones I didn't get to see in theaters.
God, dude, that's so crazy because you were 6.
Yeah, I was 6. Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. This one here, it was a blast to kind of get back into that. Again, I was an adult. Like I think I was, in 2001, I was 21 years old or 20 years old. So old man. But my brother and I went, and then we also had, my cousin Christina, who was there, her younger brother went with us the same night of the premiere. So it was pretty fun. Unfortunately, he was working last night and couldn't make the movie with us, but Dude, it's just crazy to think that it's been 25 years since this movie's been out. So kind of fun. I wanted to touch base on this. I wanted you to be able to talk about some of this live from the shop, show us your project, join in. Like, what? Tell us what this thing is that typically happens on Thursdays, maybe move into Tuesdays.
Yeah. So my friends and I have always been talking, and we've all got project cars, whether they're drag cars or road race cars or drift cars, and they all need a lot of work. But a lot of us have trouble finding motivation to get out there when you're by yourself, and so we find a lot of motivation in each other. You know, when a friend can come hang out and he doesn't even have to help, just sit in a lawn chair and drink a beer and honestly make fun of him while he works on it. That's some of the best motivation to just get out there and be in the shop. And I wanted to be able to provide that for people that when you're not living close to your buddies, or when your buddies are busy or whatever, it's just have someone to hang out with and bounce ideas off of and talk to and show what you're doing. And so like when I was trying to diagnose problems on the live stream, we had a bunch of people in the comments trying to help me out too and giving suggestions. And it's been really great. And we've come full circle. I think the first night I was buttoning up a radiator install and getting the car fired up and robbing batteries from any car out in the driveway to get it to start, only to find that the main bearings were smoked. And now we're full circle, and the last live stream, I fired it up again and set the timing, and I went and drove it 40 miles on Thursday.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that's what it's supposed to do, man. That is one good thing that has come from that, is like it truly is getting folks in here. Again, big shout out to Jan Haas, who has been on a few of the live streams with you, getting his truck ready, working on it, doing that kind of stuff. So it's really cool, man. I love that you're doing this. I love that you're driving this, and it is really fun. I can't wait to see it as it goes throughout the next few years. I just got to get on there and start working on my own shit.
Yeah, maybe we can get you to have breaks at all four corners on the live stream. We can just bully you enough.
Calm down. Calm down. Is it bad when the old truck stops about the same as it did before?
That just tells me that
rear brakes.
That just tells me that single rear brake wasn't doing a whole lot.
No way. Couldn't be doing a whole lot. So yeah, it'll be nice to have all that. And all that stuff is going to get delivered on Tuesday, so I'm kind of excited about it.
Hell yeah.
All right, man, let's move into some driven racing oil stuff, and we'll talk about some events from around the country and globe. Hold on, here we go. Somewhere in here. Eric usually runs this. Here we go.
Hey, it's Brandon from Fort Smith, Arkansas here. Driven Racing Oil is a performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application. Whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing the limits in top-fueled drag boats and demo derbies, winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cleaning and high-zine formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil and enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance.
For sure, and you guys know drivenracingoil.com. Use code DDR10. That gets you 10% on your entire order. All right. Or find them at events. I mean, dude, like I said, Michael Neal's at an event this weekend. I don't even know where he's at. I think he's at Michigan. He's actually at Michigan Miles. So go over there, talk to him, say, hey, we saw it, make us a deal. 3 events happening right now across the country. What's really cool is SIG Michigan Miles, 200-something cars there, 300 cars there. And then Dragway Rush is just over the border. So like in this pocket of Michigan and whatever you would call that of Canada, there's like 400 plus drag and drive cars driving around. So think about how that changes the dynamic of local businesses, but also like local auto enthusiasts, right? So they start seeing all these cool cars pulling trailers and doing all that kind of stuff. And Cruise and Loose started yesterday. They're going to run yesterday, today, and tomorrow in Nebraska. So kind of all over the country. So this will be kind of fun. We're going to actually go over all 3 of the stats from those events here in just a few minutes. So you guys get ready. September. What's really weird about September is last year we called this like the month of insanity or something. There were like 9 events in September last year. There are literally 3 events in September this year. We've got Drag Week, which is gigantic. We've got Redwood Rally, which of course is gigantic on the West Coast, and we have 666, which we know it's going to be huge too, and that's going to be in the central part of the country. So this is really interesting to me. Actually, thinking about it now, we'll have Drag Week running, Chicago, Cordova, St. Louis, and back up. So it'll kind of be in that, Missouri, Illinois area, Iowa area, and then 666 is running Southern Missouri, side to side, and then up to the middle part of the state. So should be pretty interesting. I mean, there's a lot of cars going to be there during the month of September. But man, I can't wait to get to Drag Week. This thing's going to be bad freaking ass.
Yeah, I wish I could make it to Drag Week, but I'll be at 666, so I'll see you there for that one.
Yeah, and that's what you're getting your car ready for, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So what's the countdown to that?
I need
month
to
and
change
5 days.
Yeah, something like that. It's like I need to change my board. Right now, I still have my thrash from trying to get this ready for the circuit up on the board. I need to go ahead and put a countdown up there for 666. But a little more testing on the car, and then I got to start getting the trailer ready and do some practice driving with the trailer because I got to make sure this hitch and everything I built works.
You've never pulled the trailer, dude? It's gonna be life changing.
Yeah, no, I was on the first time it blew up when it originally threw the rod. I was on my way to Lou's house. Lou's been on the live stream with me a few times in my garage working on this thing. I was on my way to his house to build the hitch when it threw the rod.
Oh, no way.
So we just went ahead and towed it there and still built the hitch, but then I hadn't had a chance to drive it till this week. So
that's crazy, man. Well, my plan is to come up for day one or come down for day one at MoCan. I'm going to be at Kansas City that weekend. So with Flying H and Midwest Drag Race Series. So it'd be kind of fun mixing pro mods and then street cars, All right. And then October has become a busy month. Now we've got 6 events in October. We've got Weekend Warrior Race and Relax, October 2nd through 4th. Of course, Race Week, which my plan is to do. It may be changing. Steven is trying to talk me into doing Tulsa, MoCan, and Great Bend. But currently my plan is to do Thunder Valley, Tulsa, and MoCan, and then come home. So we'll see. I don't know. I want to take the old truck. So that's kind of I've got to have it ready for Drag Week, get through Drag Week, and then we're going to come up here to Race Week. Of course, we've got Route 66 Roundup, which is our own event, starting at the Tulsa Midnight Drags, and then going to we're going to start Tulsa Midnight Drags. So midnight, drag racing starts. You make your passes until the midnight's close. Then we're meeting at Crossroads Diner at 6 a.m. for breakfast.
Oh my
and
God.
we're going to come back and eat at Import Face Off. So typically the midnights, if it is a large enough car count, which we should be bringing 40 cars with us probably, so we could run till 4 a.m. at the midnights. Okay. Then you get in your car and you drive. And then you come back and Import Face Off. So there's going to be people that have not slept. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be a really good time. So that's October 17th. Registration did open today, which is what I was supposed to say a second ago. Sorry. Let me jump down here and get the link. I'll drop that into the chat. And you don't have to register for this event, but the benefit for it is that I'm going to do some kind of giveaway within the pre-registered folks. So I don't know what the cutoff is, what that giveaway is yet. I haven't figured that out, but it's going to be a fun one. I may even do entry for the short circuit. Southeast Street Meet, October 20th through 24th. Dragon Dash, the 21st through the 24th. The only drag and drive event in Texas for the year. How crazy is that, dude? Texas, like the entire state of Texas has one drag and drive.
I'm actually surprised how few there are in Texas because there's that event, and then I think the only other one that's in Texas is if Rocky Mountain Race Week, does their like central north south route. Yeah,
and they didn't do that this year because they were back in the mountains with Kearney and Pueblo. So
and that's where it belongs, honestly. That needs to be back in the mountains. That's really awesome 100%. That they're back up there.
Yeah. Completely agree with you. I love them having Great Bend back open, and I love that Bandamere hopefully will be open maybe by 2028 event. I just don't know if they could get it done by 2027, but maybe that would be really cool. But yeah, the only way for Texans to do a semi-local drag and drive event is to do Wild West Dragon Dash. That's pretty wild to me, dude. That really blows my mind. And then of course, Street Machine Drag Challenge, one of the I think it's like the second or third oldest drag and drive that's out there. This is in Australia. It's October 27th through 31st. Oh yeah, Jesse has it. Says we for sure have enough tracks to do 8th mile stuff, and that's what surprised me. I want to talk about this for just a second. We'll leave this up. So Wild West Dragon Dash gets us on a lack of Texas Dragon drives. We talk about that. Everybody is worried about saturation, right? When you start looking at the map that we have, the interactive map, you start seeing these huge holes, right? There's really areas that have no events, especially in 2026. We'll find out if that will happen in 2027. But for folks that are trying to get into this, dude, can you imagine your first event? You have to drive 1,000 miles to get to your first event. Hey, honey, my first event's going to be a week-long event. Hey, I've also got to leave 2 days early because I want to drive up there. I'm going to be 2 days back. So I'm going to be gone like 11 days. I know we're not going to go on a family vacation this year, but I'm going to go have a lot of fun. Or you could go to a weekend event like, Wild West Dragon Dash, 4 days. And you could go to that. But what if October 21st to 24th doesn't work for your schedule? Dude, like Texas, you could race as early as February, probably, right? May.
The tracks are open in February. I've been to a test and tune in February this year.
Man, see, and everybody worries about saturation. There's no reason we can't have another 20 or 30 weekend events across the country. It doesn't have to go crazy. We don't need some kind of big, we don't need 30 more events, but there's nothing in the Southwest. There's very few in the Northwest. There's a few more in the Northeast this time. But dude, you're talking about one event. So, yeah. Canadian Chuck Norris here, Mr. Rich Guido saying not a Dragon Drive, but the Wisconsin Outlaw Stick Shift race September 10th is going to be crazy. Ooh, with Brett showing up with a snot rocket with the stick shift.
I'm excited to see that.
Wow, that ought to be pretty impressive, and to go all the way to Wisconsin with that car is going to be badass. So that car's going to be really, really fast. All right, last 2 events of the year for Dragon Drives where you're going to drive your car is going to be the Drag Drive Repeat Short Circuit at George Ray's Wildcat Drag Strip in Paragould, Arkansas, presented by Deechworks. I can't wait. This event has been years in the making. I've literally been talking to Tyler for 2 years. This should be a ton of fun. And then, of course, Road Trip Drag Challenge, Warwick Dragway in Australia. This should be something that we're going to do some back and forth chit-chat and see if we can do some trash talk. Oh, man. Yeah, Rodney Reeves with the idea of the day here. I love this. He says, I want to do a Louisiana event, Bayou Cruise and Brews at some point. Bud, let's get together.
That would be awesome.
I want to talk about this. And, last year, 2024, maybe, Bankshift, Chad Reynolds tried to put something together, but I think the timing was too short to try and get that. And he was going to do it in February, which we need a big event in that early part of the year in the South. So. And then Jesse Hazlitt saying, last year my last pass was December 15th, and first pass this year was in February. I mean, dude, that's what's great about Texas now. It's hotter than all Hades down there right now, but
it's a high of I think 107 today here in Fort Worth.
Gross. Dude, that doesn't make any sense. One event that we don't have on the list because we're not going to be driving, obviously, during that, but is our Dragon Drive Awards at PRI, presented by Summit Racing. I'm excited to. This will be our 4th year to do that, so it should be really fun to get into this. And of course, that's where we award the points champion for the overall champion, and then 850 and 10-0, and then also all of the other awards like the Molly Motorsports Toughest Roadside Repair. Dragon Drive ambassadors, all that kind of stuff. So that's December 11th. December 12th through 14th, and we're doing our award show on the 13th at 3 p.m. So that's at Friday afternoon. So 49 events for the year here in Dragon Drive. Pretty insane considering in 2022 there were 11. You can find the full schedule. I'm dropping the link over there. But dragdriverepeat.com/events takes you to the interactive map and all the fun stuff we do over there. We've got a full list with links to the events, dates, host tracks, all that kind of stuff. Travis Wisen here, our favorite trophy maker. Appreciate him and all he does for us. Revved Up Laser Revved Up Custom Laser Works for him. He's done our trophies for several years in our belts and all that kind of stuff. So big shout out to Driven. If you are at Sick Michigan Miles, please go over and see Michael Neal. Tell them thank you for all they do. They're big supporters of Sick the Magazine, big supporters of us here at Drag Driver Pete. All right, sir. Man, I'm sorry. I'm rolling here, man. I've gone way too long on this stuff. Let me play this Deechworks and then we'll talk about some drag week stuff.
From street miles to track passes, your fuel system has one job: perform when it matters most. At Deechworks, we engineer high-performance fuel systems built for the demands of drag and drives. From injectors and fuel pumps to filters and regulators, every component is engineered to be reliable and consistent under real-world conditions. Whether you're chasing a personal best or driving hundreds of miles between tracks, Deechworks delivers the fuel system your build requires.
All right, big shout out to Deechworks, and Mark Campbell over there is awesome. Secondarily, having race car friends across the world is really, really cool. Our boy, Tom Bagley, messaged me the other day, says, "Hey man, how far are you from Inola, Oklahoma?" I said, "I'm 90 minutes. He goes, "Dude, please go pick up this motor for me." I said, "Okay." He said, "But I don't know how. Once you get it, how can we get it to Memphis?" And I said, "Well, Mark Campbell lives south of Memphis and goes to Oklahoma City for Deechworks for meetings and things like that. Often, probably not every week or every month or whatever." I said, "Reach out to him because Deechworks is also a friend of the Knapsack Mustang with Tom Bagley." And turns out Mark is going over. He's going over tomorrow, and he'll be coming back through next Friday. So I picked the motor up yesterday, 2 days ago. Mark will pick the motor up from me next Friday. So how cool is that? And it'll get delivered to Memphis and all this kind of stuff. So having race car friends is the best thing in the world.
No, it's truly awesome. And he's up to what, 2 VK56s now? I think he just needs to keep collecting them, like pick up another one each month.
Dude, this one was $350 intake to oil pan. Like, he needs to have 10 of those things.
He needs to just keep one in the tent on the roof.
Yeah, just right. Man, all the parts and pieces there, for sure. Well, I mentioned this in the opening thing here, but our boy Ryan Hargett has added a third shock to the Camaro, and dude, it sparked a ton. I think there were 70 comments on his post about this thing because everybody was like, "What are you doing? Why is there 3 shocks?" Turns out it's for the pulling the race trailer, which is not something you normally do on a Pro Mod, in regular race trim. So Ryan has lived in fast car world for a really long time. So a lot of his friends and followers are, full on drag racers, not drag and drive racers. So a lot of these guys were commenting, "Man, I don't understand. What are you talking about? What is this? Why are you taking this car on the street?" It was really a lot of fun. But that's why he's adding the third shock. So I know you guys have seen it this week. Hey, Sean Fling in here saying good morning. Good morning to the Fling family, our tech and registration folks for the circuit, and going to be helping with some at the short circuit, but they're also racing it. So I'm really excited about that. But this third deal, pretty neat. But how about this thing? He has a weight sensor on the trailer hitch ball, or the hitch. I don't know how this thing works. I don't understand any of that, but Low Dollar Motorsports sensor for tongue weight on the trailer. That's like next level nerdy shit.
Yeah, that's a good idea because that helps with of course setting it static, but you could data log it on your drive and see if you're getting too high of spikes going over bumps and stuff and adjust accordingly.
Right? How cool is that? Like how much more nerdy can you get that now you're worried about, hey, we probably need to move that. We need to take 2 gallons out of that fuel jug that sits at the front because we're seeing a spike of 80 pounds whenever we're going over this bump. Dude, it'll be that kind of stuff. So that's what I love about when cars get built at the level that Ryan builds cars. So his previous car was a low 7-second, probably 6-second capable Mustang, S550 Mustang that they bought new. It had gone through the gamut. Really cool car. They took that Coyote, increased the turbo size, did some cam changes, makes 3,000 plus horsepower, and he's put it in a car that weighs 900 pounds lighter and built for this stuff. So it should be pretty impressive. I can't wait to see this car come out. He did send me a message the other day that said as busy as Hargett Automotive and Performance is right now, he just doesn't know if he can dedicate the time to get the car ready for drag week. But he's looking at SICK week, of course, and then from there, who knows if, because he lives kind of in that Fort Wayne, Indiana area. So if he doesn't get to test this year, he'll have to test at SICK week, a couple days before. So we'll see. I don't know. This car is really exciting to me. It's a car that his dad raced with a huge cubic inch nitrous motor way back in the 90s. Way back. Hold on. When were you born again?
1995.
Golly, bro. Wow. Way back in the 90s. And then, this car is going to be a ton of fun. So we've been following it since the beginning of the build, which is late 2023. So should be pretty fun. This car is going to be really, really fast. I mean, his number one goal the whole time has been 5-second runs in the quarter mile. So, and up next, this is a car we haven't talked about in the last couple months, but Cal Hayward back out at the track. This is from a screenshot of the video he sent me that I'm unable to post. Okay, I'm not going to post it. This car is going to be very fast. And he held the street race or super street small block power adder record for a long time, like 10 years held it. And then Ryan Hargett, who we were just talking about, beat it by like 3 or 4 tenths. Well, this car had already been in the remake. So this car used to be pink. It used to be Pinky's Drag Week. You can find it on Facebook, right? Complete rebuild, big block power now, big block Ford power, all you Ford guys. Here's what he sent me in the text. He said, let's just say I only ran it to the 8 and still went faster than the small, Super Street big block power adder record. That's insane. That's insane. This should be really interesting to see this car come back. His goal is drag week. He was going to do drag week last year and had a mishap with some oil lines on a test session, I think at South Georgia. That put him back a little bit, then had oiling issues with the big block on the launch. They got that fixed, worked with Doug Vine. If you guys haven't seen that video or that live stream yet, we talked with Doug about Cal's oil pan and how he went to dry sump and why the wet sump didn't work the way it should have. All this kind of stuff is really great conversation. And so they've got all that dialed out now, and the car is at the track and going very, very fast. I won't tell you what the Super Street big block power adder record is, but it is low 7s. So it's just another 6-second capable street car right here, probably. So anyways, that's our updates for Driven Racing or for Deechworks. And you guys can see they have all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, anything you could possibly need for your fuel system, they got it. All right, let's run into some Car Chains 3D stuff here. And this is kind of where we're going to be able to talk more and have more fun, okay? Car Chains 3D should be your first choice for custom 3D printed parts for your project car. Corey can take your idea to reality. Maybe you're looking for that special car guy gift they can't get anywhere else. Corey can produce a one-off keychain for that special person, special car. Find more at carchains3d.com or on social by searching Car Chains 3D on Facebook and Instagram. But he also makes all kinds of crazy stuff. I've got to rewrite that ad because, man, this dude is kicking ass at bringing out products that are 3D printed, high quality, and also solving problems. So a video 2 days ago, they were at Fox Fest last weekend. People were like, hey, man, do you make a block off for my factory steering column that uses the factory surround? Okay, because they want to keep their blinker and all that kind of stuff, all that, how everything works factory-wise. But when you pull all of that off and put an aftermarket steering wheel on, it looks like crap. So he's like, I don't currently, but I'll look. And he made this. So this works with your factory Fox body steering column cover, I guess, and then just basically fills in the gap so your steering column doesn't look like shit, and fills that gap there, covers it up, looks like this. Dude, this is the kind of stuff that I love about what Corey does at Car Chains 3D. So
You're only limited by imagination with those 3D printers. It's really awesome.
Dude, and he's got an imagination like nobody else's. The dashes that are in his shop right now are crazy. So if you have an idea and you don't see it on the Car Chains 3D website, you can send him what you're working on. Like, hey, I need to put this Holly 12.3 dash in my 70 Nova, like Brian Acton did, and send him a dash and bezel kit. He scans it, and then he can make it work and fit in there. So pretty cool stuff, man. I'm really excited about that. But let's talk about Michigan Miles, because this is an event. And the reason I'm talking about it during him is because Corey is in Michigan. So this will be this. Let's kind of go through this. So I want to go over the standings currently. Obviously, they're not racing at Lapeer today, but they will be finalizing the race tomorrow at Mid-Michigan Motorplex. So these stats are up until last night. So these are the most current standings in each class. So we'll run through kind of like we do typically between Eric and I, and we'll just alternate. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So first up, quickest Chevrolet / GMC, Mr. Aiden Bailey in the shitbox of doom. 510 for an average ET for him over the weekend. Of course, this is all 8th mile stuff, so kind of fun. But 510 quickest of the entire event so far, I think. Oh, no, actually, I was wrong. There's one more ahead of him. Go ahead.
And then in the Ford Lincoln Mercury class, we got Tom Kepper with a 5.4136 average.
Nice. All right. And then I should have let you do the Mopar here. Go ahead and do the Mopar, and I'll do the next one.
Yeah. So Mopar, quickest Mopar is Terry Kiefer with a 582 average.
Come on. So that's Chevrolet, Ford, and Mopar. How about Pontiac's here, Mr. Doug Whited? 624 average for him so far.
And then in Buick is Harry Ulrich, and it's 830 average.
Nice. In the olds class, we've got Christopher Weingart's 782 for him for this weekend or this week.
Yeah, there was a single entry in the AMC class, but apparently he has bowed out of competition.
Yeah, dang, that's sad. Stick shift, Mr. William Philippin, 604. Dude, I feel like that's pretty quick out of a stick shift car.
That's pretty good. And then not far behind him and naturally aspirated is Don Gatlin with a 635.
Man, that's getting down. Nitrous, Josh Offerman, 646, who is also leading that class on Wednesday night as well.
Nice. Quickest radial, Eric
Birkitvit.
536 average.
Come on, get down.
You're giving me all the hard ones.
Yeah. I set that up in the beginning. That dude won 6 summer, one of the 850 classes. So that car is one to watch. He's a hell of a competitor. In the Gasser class, one of our favorite folks, Mr. Jay Grabiak. We saw Tanya in here making comments earlier. 626 average for them in the 55 Gasser.
That's a good looking car there.
Oh, man, I love it.
Hot Rod Zach Blousey, 595.
Come on. In that Model T, can you imagine driving that thing 2 times? It's insane. In the Beetle class?
Is that the Twisted T?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was at Six Smokies. Yeah, that thing's awesome.
Insane. There's a video yesterday of him just blowing flames, like in a parking lot. I'm like, man, let's go. I'm all over that kind of stuff. In the Beetle class, Antonio Batista with a 1073 out of the Volkswagen Beetle. I mean, bro, it doesn't get any cooler than that.
Big block class, Charles Marlatt with a 492.
Yeah, quickest car on the property. Current leader overall. Pretty awesome. In the small block class, Mr. Kevin Parton with a 543 average so far.
And then in diesel, we have Dustin West with a 671 average.
Hell yeah. 4-cylinder class, Mr. Adam Helmer with an 818 average for him. So we gotta get that up a little bit on them 4-cylinder, bigger turbo.
And then 6-cylinder Steve McNair with a 736.
That's a little better. And then how about Connor Aspergren taking over the lead here at NHRA Junior Street DYO style 942.
That's a cool class.
Yeah.
And then the motorcycle V-twin. This is the Harleys, right? Mainly.
Yep.
That'd be Sean Clark with a 704.
Well, and I was going to say I think it could be Harleys, but there's some sport bike V-twin stuff. I just don't think any of those are maybe there. But then motorcycle 1000cc plus, there is Jim Clark, who obviously related, 701. And on Wednesday night show, Derek Putnam said that those guys have been lining up side by side each time. And yes, you're right. I do remember now they are both Harleys.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So they are lining up side by side. So I did go in and figure out some close races. Thought this would be a fun thing because we have one more day of racing. So as these cars get turned up on the last day, there's a lot of stuff that you really got to figure these guys are going to go through. So hot rod class, one of the closest here. Zach Blousey leading with a 595 over Luke DeJong, 596 with a 0. So 5.956 to Luke's 5.960, 0.004 apart. Like, come on, man. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what? Naturally aspirated, you've got the same spread between Don Gatlin and Paul English, 6.346 to 6.350, also 4 thousandths apart.
Yeah, that's wild. With having 1 day left, it would be interesting to see what those number 2 guys have to run to take over that number 1 spot. In the Chevrolet GMC class, we got Eric Malotke versus Frederick DeJong. They're 0.013 apart for second and third place, and they're in the 590 range.
Yeah, small block class, we've got Jeff Wickton and Paul Bigelow, 21 thousandths apart, 6.025 to 6.047, splitting second and third place right now.
Man, that's awesome. And this is interesting because Kanan Hall is passenger in Paul Bigelow's C10 truck, and they put a transmission or something in last night. So should be pretty interesting. They have all day today to get that truck lined out, and then can they go into tomorrow kicking ass and taking names? Nitrous class, Brent Rederick, 7.670 with a 5 over Eric Plester, 6.7 with a 4.04 apart for second and third place in that class.
Radial, Eric Bajurkovic, 5.362 to John Moore's 5.446. They're 0.083 apart for first and second place.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one because John is not afraid to turn it up, but there was a video of him the other day. He could not get that car to hook, and I think it was at the first track. So as he's just, he literally, no, I think it was second track. He spun by 300 feet 3 different times. So he's like, this is a little worrisome here. So just some cool stories. Again, thank you to Derek Putnam for sending these stories over. Kyle Cartwright torched 2 cylinder heads. Okay. Luckily brought a spare pair of stock ones. He was chipping the aluminum out of the way on the block and then putting the engine back together. This was yesterday afternoon. So yesterday afternoon. So kind of exciting for those guys. Nothing like a roadside repair. Or a trackside repair, I guess.
Some of the stories for for either roadside or trackside repairs throughout Drag and Drive are just insane.
Yeah, that's for sure. Up next, Charles Marlett is celebrating 20th anniversary with his wife on this trip. She's riding co-pilot. So happy anniversary to them.
Hell yeah.
And then Eric Bierkovic has needed 4 passes or more each day to get the number he wants. Can you imagine that? 4 passes each day? Dude, that's insane. Again, this notes from Derek. He said with a 535 threshold on his cage cert, he's turned in a 536 on day 1, 535 on day 2, and 2 537s today.
Dude, when you've got that wall of a cage cert, it makes things way more difficult, and the fact that he's also holding on to first place in that class too. Yeah,
it just shows how difficult that stuff is. And then Zach Blousey, let me pull over to this photo here. Sorry, which is what I should have been doing. So that's Zach Kyle Cartwright, and then this is, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this was Zach Blousey. This pass looks wild. He's in front of one of our good friends, Don Harmon, and literally back tire over the center line twice. Like he comes out, it spins, he gets back in it, it spins even harder. And I can't imagine the wheelbase of that Model T is about the size of this table I'm sitting at. So I can't imagine how whippy that thing got as he made his way down through there. So pretty wild. The folks definitely there on the stands got a show.
I'm glad he was able to keep it all together.
Yeah. And then last story here. This is what I think is the most fun. Kyle Wetzel helped a normie, regular car person. They couldn't get their car started. It was dead. He comes over with his jump box, knocks it out, gets them on the road. So pretty cool, man, to, hot rodders helping regular people. So pretty fun. Let's talk about Dragway Rush, dude. This thing, 19 classes, bro. That's probably too many.
That's quite a few classes. And I imagine a lot of them maybe like 5 or less cars in them.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think as they've grown, this is their biggest year so far. I think we'll see some of that stuff kind of move around, and that's what you got to do as a good promoter. So Dragway Rush, they require 2 passes per day, which obviously you guys know for a weekend event, I love that kind of stuff. 1, it keeps cars at the track a little longer, but then 2, it eliminates that opportunity to make a hero pass and then get out of there. So it's kind of fun. If you're going to do weekend stuff, kind of keep that in mind. So 2 passes per day. This is after 4 passes. They will finish today. Is that Kanan Hall? What's he saying here?
He sheared the converter bolts off yesterday, busted the flex plate, coasted into a random parking lot, pulled the trans, and a local shop had a stock flex plate, and he got it back together and finished the route last night.
Golly, dude, that's insane.
That is a hell of a thrash. That is awesome.
Yeah, bring it on, man. Well, back to Dragway Rush. Let's run through like we were a minute ago here. So, again, 2 passes per day. This is a 4-pass average. They will race today to finish this event up. They're probably racing now. I think it's 10-3. So they would be racing now. So big tire class, Nick Poirier winning, leading that class. 877 average for him so far.
And then small tire, you got Kevin Harratz with an 1133 average.
I figured small tire would be much quicker than an 1133, and it's just not. Tiny tires, they're 235 tires. Rick Charters with an 1167. I can't imagine taking a 235 to the quarter mile.
It's wild enough for the rowdy radial guys in the 8th mile. Yeah. Heavy hitter class, is this like minimum weight class? Yeah. Okay, that's Jared Balfour running 946.
Come on. That's pretty fun. Naturally aspirated. Mr. Chucky Skinner coming up from the U.S., 1027 for him, followed by second place, Mr. Norm Tannehill with a 1033. So that's a good race.
Super Street, we got Paolo Silveira, 914 average.
Nice. And then the modified Jordan Klassen with a 922. So that would be a good race to see those two guys run head-to-head.
All-wheel drive is Ben Henderson with an 1124 average.
Bring it on. Front-wheel drive class. This is one of the only ways you can race front-wheel drive. Well, the only way you can get into your own class in front-wheel drive. In drag and drive is to do Dragway Rush. Marcel Brosseau, 1220 for that class.
Nice. Quickest leaf spring. That's Tyler Cornish with a 959 average.
Yeah, that's pretty badass on a leaf spring. That's awesome.
I wonder if a Corvette counts in that class. I guess it would have to.
Are late model Corvettes leaf spring too? They're
all the way up to the C7. Yeah, it's a transverse leaf spring.
Interesting. That could be kind of fun. Modern swap, Mr. West Dyke, 1044 for him. I don't know what the setup is on that car, but I would like to know that.
The Gear Jammers stick shift class, that's Scott Story with a 939 average.
Come on. Nostalgia class, which again, I don't know the story behind this, Mr. Michael Hudson, 1218 out of that class.
Daily driver, Mitch Miljanovich, it's an 1179 average.
Nice. And then hard tire, Aaron Ahuja, 968, bro. 5th quickest car on the property is on a hard tire.
968 is a little, depends on the definition of hard tire, but that seems pretty quick and maybe a little sketchy for a hard tire.
Yeah, I agree.
Tailgate, there's 20 racers in this class. That's led by Pete Klassen with an 1190 average.
Yeah, blew my mind when I saw 20 racers and an 1190 is winning that class. There's a lot faster tailgates out there.
Behind Fox Body Mustangs, like it's trucks for like easiest things to build into fast street cars. That is a pretty slow average for that class. Right.
How about midnight on Marketplace? This has to be some kind of cheap car challenge, plan B, go buy something, Nick Sawyer leading that class with a 1456.
That is probably one of the best class names I've seen.
Dude, I love it.
The motorcycles class is led by John Dirksen, 1193 average.
Man, and then the only 8th mile class in this whole event is Outlaw, and it is led by Wes Hodgson with a 664 average so far. Again, 4 passes for Dragway Rush. And again, Michigan Miles is taking part in Michigan. And then literally right over the line is Dragway Rush in Canada. So 400 plus cars cruising around that part of the country. Pretty awesome. So that is our coverage for those two events. Again, big shout out to Car Change 3D and Corey and all he does for us here at Drag Driver Pete. I've got some plans for the old truck stuff. I want to kind of incorporate a display / cup holder / charging port for my dash in the old truck. So I'm working on plans for that, and I'll send it over to him. But just want to again say, guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you guys. The show is going to run over. I haven't even got in the second half of the show yet, dude. This will not be 2 hours, I promise. We're gonna get to it, but hit the share button as we jump into this second little bit here. And of course, our sponsors, y'all. If you haven't done it yet, please go do some shopping with these. We don't ask you to spend money with them, but please go do some shopping with them. So Summit Racing, of course, our title sponsor here at the show and news and the circuit. Deechworks, title sponsor at Short Circuit. Molly Motorsports, baddest pistons in the game. Driven Racing Oil. If you like your stuff to go roundy round inside your engine, you need Driven Racing Oil, not just for your engine, transmission, and rear axle. They've got cleaning products and all that kind of cool stuff. Of course, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, and Low Dollar Motorsports, and PowerTube TV and Racing Junk Classifieds round out our sponsors for 2026. We appreciate you guys and all that they do. All right, Molly Motorsports. Let's play this ad read, and then we're going to talk about some more drag and drive stuff.
Let's do it.
Looking for a forged piston kit for your vehicle? You need Molly Motorsport Power Pack. What is Power Pack? It's the ultimate forged piston kit that comes complete with pistons, performance file fit rings, hot string steel pins, and clips, all engineered to work together. So all you have to do is build something great. Find your Power Pack at mollymotorsport.com.
And if you guys are looking for Molly Motorsport Power Pack piston info or updates, and you're trying to figure out what fits, if you've got a custom piston setup that you need, something like that, get with us. We'll get you with these guys and get you set up. Now, the cool thing is George Wright in the bottom left will be at Drag Week. He's not racing this year, so he'll be manning the tent during Drag Week, which will be really cool because that means we can kind of corner him and get some answers and tell fun stories. So it'll be kind of fun. He's usually racing a 700 plus horsepower NASCAR style small block Mopar in that Duster. So
like an R5 P7 deal.
Yeah.
Those are sweet. I remember back when I didn't know much, I was considering buying one of those off eBay, and I would have been in a world of thrown to the wolves as far as fabrication to get that thing to work.
Well, and that's the hard part about that stuff is like, man, you've just got to make that decision and then buy extras for that motor, So, all right. Well, we're going to talk about Cruise and Lose during this segment here because Cruise and Lose is another event that's on my list for 2027. I've got to get up to these guys. Zach and the team do an incredible job up there. This is in Lincoln, Nebraska area, I-29 Raceway. I love this. So let's run through these. There's a lot of tight classes. There's 4 classes at this event, and they are all very tight. So Unlimited class being led by Mark Grote, who just crushed it at Rocky Mountain. So Mark he's leading the class with a 5:33 pass on day 1. So day 2 is today. Day 3 is tomorrow. Matt Moen is in second place with a 5:29, and our boy Dustin Peterson in third place with a 5:58 with a 3. So what's that? 54 thousandths separating number 2 and 3.
That's awesome. The 650 index class is led by Bryson Pokanyi, 6.506 average, followed up by Jan Haas right behind him with a 6.508 average. I just saw a post from him this morning. He went ahead and ran it out the back and ran a quarter-mile personal best this morning.
Come on, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then third place in 650, Bill Moss with a 6.512. Travis Urbach right behind him, 6.525. And then Jeff Moss rounding out the top 5, 6.553 average.
I don't know if it gets any tighter than that. That's pretty insane.
For a 650 index, there's only, do the math, 47 thousandths between first and fifth place.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. So that will change today. I'm sure this entire list of 5 here will shake up somehow. So pretty awesome. Excited for both Jeff Mass and Jan Haas, who have both been at the circuit and done stuff with us. So pretty exciting. 750 index is as tight. So Steve Smith runs out with a 7.501, and a 750 index. Luke Cartwright, 7505 for second place. But listen to this, dude. The top 13 racers have a 7.5 something. 13 racers, dude, are separated by less than a tenth.
That's
Top
amazing.
13. The top 18 are 768 or quicker. They're only off the dial by 1800s. Like, that's insane. So that class will be completely shooken up today. It'll be interesting to see how that ends out today, and then, of course, tomorrow as well.
Yeah. And then you got the 850 index led by Evan Heelman, 8533 average, followed by Michael Meyer, and 8538 average, only 5 numbers off of him. And then Rudolph Zinder rounding out the top 3 with an 8541. Top 6 in the class, all within a tenth of the dial.
That's insane, bro. I know everybody is like, index racing, blah, blah, blah. You know, we get it every time we talk about it, but this is exciting to me because this is hard, man. This is really, really hard to run up against that number. I can't imagine. How do you decide?
There's way more strategy that goes into it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when we have talked with Jay Blanchard, getting into the beams the same way each time is so important. You know, like you can bump in and be 4 inches further forward and have a big problem.
That's almost to the point where like your front tire pressure matters because it changes how far it spreads out.
Yeah, right. Insane. So I love it, man. This is really cool. And good luck to everybody at Cruise and Loops. Again, that's an event I want to go to in 2027. Those guys have a ton of fun, and it looks really cool. And their trophies are badass. If you win, you're not your first genius to me. All right, let's do some Howard Cam stuff, and that will kind of round out the show. And I figured we were going to be a lot longer. Here you go. You ready?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Harris from the Monoxide Podcast. Real quick, Howard's Cams was founded as a racing cam manufacturer almost 80 years ago when Howard Johansson created Howard's Power and Racing Equipment in 1945. Howard's Cams has always used on-track experience to design the most powerful designs, and today they have an even greater group of experienced racers in circle track, drag racing, road race, mud bog, and marine. They use all this input plus the most advanced computer software to design the most competitive race-winning products. From pioneers in drag racing and oval track to cutting-edge marine development, Howard's Cams is at the forefront of the industry. So make sure to reach out to our friend, Luke B, for your next valve train upgrade.
All right, you ready? Let's
Yep.
talk about some of this fun stuff. So if you guys know, the community segment is a segment where we kind of just talk about anything and everything from around. We typically try and stay drag and drive related over here at Drag Drive Repeat, but this is a big story because this is a drag and drive car, obviously. Devin Vanderhoof and Josh Davis are taking the Mustang to PDRA. They're going to race in the Pro Street class at PDRA. This is a big deal because I think this is going to help drive a lot of attention to not only HCR Innovations and Josh as a driver and builder, but Devin as a driver, as a builder and wiring and plumbing and all the stuff that he does. But these guys are going to be going up against the best on the East Coast for sure, if not the country in Pro Street. And Pro Street is very highly contested. This is a low 4-second, high 3-second, eighth mile class, and they're fixing to take at this point, it's not going to be a street car. We'll talk about it in a second, but this car will still do 2 drag and drives a year. So the PDRA fans are going to see this car kicking ass in Pro Street, and then they're also going to see this car kicking ass at Sick Week, Sick Summer, Rocky Mountain, whatever he ends up going to. Southeast Street Meet, Devin runs. I don't think they'll ever run this car at Street Meet, but they're obviously the promoters and hosts of that event. So this is really cool in my mind. This car goes to a 33 10.5 tire, and that's never what they run on it. It's big, slick, floppy tire, and he always runs a radial. So should be pretty interesting, and I'm sure he's going to really enjoy the learning aspect of all of this.
Yeah, they've got their work cut out for them for sure, but I'm really excited to see how well they do.
Yeah, and I think it's going to help them a lot. Moving to a slick tire like that, I think, could help quite a bit whenever they go back to doing drag and drive because of track prep and things like that. Now, obviously, PDRA has their own track prep. Tyler Crossnow is a stud over there, and so you guys know it's going to be great. It's going to be really fun to watch these guys go and do this race. But you've seen the one of the newest Performance Fab videos. The guy over there does a lot of the work to the car, and so he gave us a whole rundown on the switch. Like, this wasn't just a, hey, let's mount on some big tires and go do that. Dude, have you seen the video?
No, I haven't, but I imagine it's wheel tubs and rear end and
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then making some things that make this car a street car and turning it into a race car. They're removing a lot of stuff. So now, the mounts and things for all the headlights and things like that are going to get changed, but they've got to be modular so they can put it back on and then be able to put the regular headlights and taillights and all that kind of stuff back in. So it's going to be really cool to see the transition of this car from PDRA to street car status. So kind of excited. That's big news for us here in Drag and Drive.
I wonder at what point does he just get a second front end so that he doesn't have to mess with the street front end versus the all-out PDRA front end?
I'm sure that's probably a plan. I didn't pay just a ton of attention. I'm sure Matt went over that from Performance Fab. I'm sure he went over that and got through all that. But this is really cool. This is really cool for us here in Drag and Drive. All right, and then up next, I thought this was really fun. Lucky Performance. Tom Tashner did a whole meet and greet career day at a local high school there in Boonville, Arkansas, which is where he lives. Thought this was really fun, and it makes me want to get more involved with local schools, because I know what I do is nerdy and stats and telling stories and things like that, but there's a lot of kids like I have found what I was supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do right here, right? A lot of kids don't have that opportunity because they just don't know. I sold cars for 15 years of my life because I was into cars. People said, oh, if you're into cars, you should sell cars. I did that for a long time when I should have been doing what I'm doing right now. So, if I can help drive some kids' attention that way, that would be even cooler. But you've got some notes here too. So tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, I was in the first year of my auto shop class at my high school when they opened that learning center in my district. That's actually where I did this car. I got this car in high school, and it had 4-wheel manual drum brakes. So I did the disc brake swap on this car in high school in my auto shop class.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then I had a little note here about a gasoline shower. I was filling up with gas one day on the way to school, and I looked at the pump, and it was like 1.5 gallons more than what the tank could hold, but it wasn't coming out of the filler neck. And I looked under the car, and it was pouring gasoline on the ground. So I don't know if this was the smart thing to do, but I drove it as quickly as I could to my auto shop that I was headed to. And I got the keys from my teacher, because I was technically 2 class periods early, and skipped a different class and got it on the lift and took a shower in gasoline while I fixed the sending unit seal. And then the front office caught a whiff of me as I tried to walk to class and sent me home to go shower and clean up and come back to school.
Dude, that's awesome. They should have done that anyways. You know what I mean? Like, golly, I can't imagine how bad that was. Just your eyes burning, their eyes burning.
Yeah,
his eyes would have been burning.
I made it back to I had forensic science in auto shop, and I missed all of forensic science, and I made it back to the auto shop class. And by the time I got back, like, the fumes really had gotten to my brain, and I just was like this on my desk the entire class, and my teacher just let me sleep it off.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, big shout out to our auto shop in high school. We were one of the last years. I think it only went like 3 or 4 years after we did.
Oh,
and Steven, my younger brother, may have been one of the last classes to get auto shop in Blytheville, Arkansas. So pretty cool. Man, we changed I had a V8 and an S10 Blazer, and we changed so many header gaskets. The collector, I don't know what the exhaust shop had done. It was probably me doing dumb stuff too. But that collector, if you really got on it more than about 2 or 3 times, that collector gasket would blow out. So we got to where we could do it in like 10 minutes. Pull the bolts, new gasket, throw it back together. And so big shout out to our shop class teacher. I don't remember his name now. I need to go back and look all that up. But he let us work on our own stuff, learn that way. And then, of course, he had this like 59 Impala. We kept trying to get him to just do cool stuff with, man, let's lower it. Man, let's do, all this stuff. And he was just like, no, it's okay. It's all stock. It ran and all that stuff. So I hope that car ended up getting modified before the end of the time. But number one conversation in the Howard's Cam segment, you brought this to my attention. This is really cool. So I'm going to let you lead this, and then I'll fill in as I can. So run us off here. Tell us what you got in your mind.
All right. So most drag and drive events, you've got 4 or 5 different. You've got all your classes, of course, but you've got 4 or 5 different run groups that they divide the classes in, just so people are running next to each other in pretty similar times and speeds, both for safety and just getting people through. So you got A class, which is like all your cars that are quicker than 850, like all the way up to like your 6-second quarter-mile cars, or even 5-second. Dragway.
Come on.
And then you go down to D class, which is 1150 plus, and then E class, which is hard tire, which is not all the events, but a lot of the 8th mile events will have a hard tire class. And I got this idea from Jake Mansky, a friend I made at Six Smokies, but he was like, why don't you talk about the difference, kind of just the amount of work and the budget that comes with these kind of things. And so I wanted to start from the bottom and work my way up.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Budget wise, it's pretty obvious. There are some outliers. You get some people like with like some pretty good spare parts and willing to lean on some stuff they shouldn't lean on, taking some cheap stuff pretty fast. But overall, it's, the faster you go, the more expensive it is, up to unobtainium dollars. But then like the drive, like E and D class, some of those you could do in a rental car. So you finish racing, and your changeover is to throw your lawn chair back in the trunk of the car, crank the AC in the stereo, turn your heated seats or cooled seats on, and go cruise at 80 miles an hour and take in the sights.
Yep.
Then you get up to B and C class, which is like your 10-second, 9-second cars, and you get a little tougher. You're probably going to make a tire change unless you're like me and you drove on your ET Street R's. I'm not going to do that this year because that with a loaded trunk meant I just pushed through any checkpoint burnouts. I didn't get to do any. I didn't get to do any burnouts. It just pushed the front end.
That's the secret to some trailer burnout stuff too. Is a trailer. Obviously, you got to have a trailer for trailer burnouts. But for a long time, Brian Acton and Jay Blanchard ran a basket off the back, and you think, man, this will be so much easier than having a trailer until you try and do a burnout. Like, Brian had to put it on the chip, like full
just
boost,
get it to do anything.
Yeah, because it was so much leverage on that back tire.
Yeah,
I like what you've got here too, and for guys that are nitrous stuff, big carburetors to make those things live, all that kind of stuff. I don't know anything about carburetors, but you got jet changes. I mean, that's one thing that these guys have to do. Spark plugs for sure, because you're trying to put in all the timing and all the boosts and all the kind of stuff you got. But tire changes, this is a thing that happens, right? So if you are on a slick, obviously you're changing over to a street tire. If you're on a radial, because like B and C class goes anywhere from 850 to 1150. So C is 10.0 to 1150 typically at sick events and drag week. Now, Rocky Mountain does call it by class, so that is a little different there.
Okay.
But B and C, this is kind of fun. And we've followed this format with this circuit because it's so much easier to call everybody. You're not necessarily worrying about calling straight to everybody by class to the lanes and they miss their call. But tire changes are a big deal. You start looking at, and this is a great note here, your changeover time. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So like D and E cars, so it's like a 5-minute change. Then B and C, depending on what you got to do, it could be, 30, 45 minutes if you've got a good system down. And then A class is where you start to really get crazy. You got blower pulley changes. Some people are taking out entire street fuel systems. Some people like Jeff Lutz are pulling entire cooling systems. And it can take 1.5 to 3 hours. Nitrous and big blower guys are changing rocker arms, they're mounting parachutes, mounting wheelie bars. You got to go find ice and fill your ice bucket for your intercooler. It's a lot more work, and it can take up to 3 hours or even more. Just depends on how organized you are and how much work you want to do with your 6-second car.
Oh, for sure. And Jeremiah Kirby just went through this on Heads Up Hustle, where it was almost a 4-hour change for those guys because they were changing rocker arms. They were doing all that stuff. Can you imagine? You pull in the parking lot. You need to be there 4 hours ahead of your run to make your changeover for the car. You're changing shocks, you're changing tires, you're changing everything. And the tires on these cars, like Goldstone's cars, one I grabbed here, they go from like a 33 or 35 inch tall mud grip terrain tire to a big slick. Like, it's not like, oh, you're swapping tires on your regular daily driver. These are 100-pound tires on the back with the mud tire. Those guys end up 3 hours worth of change. So Jeremiah Kirby and those guys would do that. They would get the changeover done, make 1 or 2 passes, and then spend another 3.5, 4 hours changing back to street mode. Yeah, what's Rowdy saying?
He's got an 850 car, and he's like, I'm not changing tires. It's a street car. I race and drive on the same set of radials, and that is the case for quite a few people. What I've got here are obviously some generalizations. There's definitely people doing more, and definitely people doing less.
Yeah, and that's an interesting conversation. I'd love to have it sometime with some folks. Like, is it worthwhile? Is it worth the time change to put a set of to have a set of street regular tires, and then also have to make the change to radials? Because the more you touch that car, the more opportunity, just like you said, there is for mistakes to happen. Did you get all those lug nuts torqued? Whose job is that? Is there a checklist that you can literally check mark? Because just because you know what needs to be done doesn't mean you're going to get it done every time. So maybe you're late to get into the track. Now you got to switch it over. What was 3 hours to make sure everything is good was now you got to do it in 2. So, yeah. Jesse asked, it's all fun until it rains. Funny story, I was driving the old truck on a set of radials, 275s that I have, and I was just going to drive it to work one day, and it sprinkled in the 1.5 miles that I drive from my house to work. And I went to pull across the where they basically paint the lines for the sidewalk, and I spun the entire way across the sidewalk line. It was like, I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Like, that's how little traction radials have.
Yeah, you ever have that situation where you've got a gap to turn left across a busy road, and you have it planned out, you have the math planned out in your head, but then you spin the tires as you're getting out into the oncoming traffic, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, you're willing that thing. I love the note here. It says some cars even have a third rear shock for trailer weight. This is true. You got to put that thing in. You got to update all of your coil springs and stuff like that for this A-class kind of car, and some B-class cars too. But what's this last note you have here?
So I was talking to Jake last night. He spent like an hour on the phone with me. I wanted to have like an actual like real guy's full example of changeover that's done both A-class and like a C-class car.
Okay.
And so he does rowdy radial in his Mustang called the Sloth. I don't know if you have a picture of it.
I don't have it in here, man. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I know you put it in here, and I didn't grab it.
Yeah. So all right. So I'll try and run through this quickly. This is what he does when he gets to the track in his 520 8th mile rowdy radial car. So he checks the fluids in the catch cans. He changes his shock and strut settings. He lowers the rear ride height by moving the rear shocks to a lower mounting hole. He swaps the tires. While he does that, he's checking the brakes, making sure everything's good there. He removes the hitch, and when he's under there removing the hitch, he's looking over all the bars in the chassis, making sure nothing's cracking, making sure all the bolts on the suspension are still there and nice and tight. He sets the tire pressures multiple times. He gets a kind of base pressure set before he heads to the lanes, and then just before he does the burnout, they set the final pressure again. securing loose items in the interior. He runs E85, so he's always testing his fuel and making sure he has enough fuel, because you don't want to run out of fuel mid-pass. Another note he had on that is he tests every gallon of E85 he gets so that he can make sure he like runs any bad fuel while he's on the street to get through it and then keep the good fuel for the track. Parachute pins, making sure his CO2 is full and on, making sure his data logger is working. Engine bay nut and bolt check, two-step check and a bump check, because you don't want to be that guy that leaves someone hanging on the starting line. Checking the U-joints and the drive shaft. Full safety gear, 20-layer fire suit, gloves, shoes, Hans device, helmet. Checking all your sensors and keeping the spare sensors on you. He had a bad dome sensor that hurt his average at 6 summer. And then driving, it's a turbo 400 with a 325 and a 28H gear. He's only going 60 miles an hour. So that's another thing you have to factor in when you've got these faster cars, is you're probably not cruising 80 miles an hour like some of the other people. You're doing like he said, he's like, I'm pretty sure Dave Schroeder only drives like 45 miles an hour with that. And so that's something you have to take into account too, is if you stay at the track all day to get a second pass in, or if you get screwed by the run group order and you get put last in the run group order, you could be driving deep into the night if you can't hold a good highway speed, or if you have to pull over because you have a shorter range, or if your ass just can't stand being in that seat for that long because the ride's that bad.
On that story is Ed Inzer at Sick Week, him and Jimmy Lopez, they were driving 45 miles an hour. It's 300 miles. They stayed until the last minute trying to get that last pass at Sick Week 2025. Those dudes did not sleep until their next pass at Sick Week the next day. They drove all night long, stopping I think they stopped every 60 miles, every 45 miles.
Yeah, it's insane. And then if you're running E85 and you don't have flex fuel, guess what you're doing? You're probably also driving off route to go find some fuel and then back en route, and that's taking another 45 minutes to an hour just to go get fuel.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's his Mustang, and then he and his friend Max run either his Corvette or a Caprice, and they're like mid 10-second cars. Their changeover is take the luggage out of the car, put the tires on, and put a helmet on.
That's awesome.
then on the cruise, they're going 80 miles an hour. They've got air conditioning and a radio. Yeah, it's just the difference is insane. Like, I've got a 2-page list of his changeover on the A-Class car, and then literally 5 bullet points for his 10-second cars.
Right, and so that's where it comes down to. Everybody wants to run a car that runs low 5s in the 8th, or high 7s, low 8s in the quarter mile. But are you willing to put that work in? Are you willing? Like, that's why Drag and Drive. I think we're seeing 2 levels of people. One that wants that thrash, they want the hardness, they want the difficulty, and then another group is like, hey, I want to go be competitive in my class, but I don't care to. I mean, some of the other notes you have here, like. Dude, loud exhaust, funny car cage with visibility struggles. How hot does it get in the car? Listen, Bryant Goldstone and Brian Robbins at Rocky Mountain Race Week 2024 had a picture of the temp gun on the firewall, and it was 167 degrees on the firewall in the Javelin. 167 degrees. That means it's got to be 140 in the car.
I think some of those guys need to do a weigh-in, like at the beginning of the week, and a weigh-in at the end of the week, and see if they track their water, see if they've kept up with their water intake. I think what not losing
we probably need to do is just do a mobile IV and just give it to them. Hey, everybody's driving an A-Class car. Come on over for your mobile IV over here. We're gonna hook you up at the end of each day. Trailer packing, a car that is going to run all out each time. You need extra parts. Okay. I know a water pump doesn't cost much weight, but how much weight does a water pump, a different torque converter, a set of clutches, a ring gear and pinion, or like Rich Guido drives with a drive shaft and a extra transmission in his car, When he was at King of the Open Road, he had an extra ring gear in the back just in case, a whole setup. What does all that weigh? And that's going in the trailer, and now your race car has to pull that trailer. So Projects is a great example. So Projects require a air compressor, which requires, I don't know if, I guess they're probably air compressor. So Projects require an air compressor.
I think it's hydraulic. It's a hydraulic compressor, actually.
Hydraulic pump. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking too. Anyways, so it needs a hydraulic pump to do. Okay, cool. That needs a generator. So now you're hauling a generator. Yeah. Rich Guido with the comment of the day. That guy's stupid.
Hey, Rich, awesome. Rich, tell me if I'm wrong or give me a more accurate number, but isn't your trailer about 2,000 pounds when it's loaded up?
Yeah, that's insane. And that's typical. I mean, we see 1,800 pounds all the time. And just full of stuff. People hauling small welders, all that kind of stuff. The loud exhaust comment on here, that's something people do not even remotely understand. They may cruise their car around town. Steven calls it all the time. People have town cars, not street cars, because they just cruise to Sonic and back. And they're like, dude, this is easy. But spend 4 hours in a car that's literally just wah, because you're just cruising,
Oh, and then get to the hotel way later than everybody else. And then another note I have is park that thing, back it into a parking spot with a trailer, no power steering, while holding your trans brake button to make sure reverse is working.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, man. I've always been a big fan of like 10-second street cars. To me, it makes sense, man. Rich, 1,800 pounds for the trailer, 5,000 pounds for the car in street mode. Insane.
I just learned this. Rich doesn't even run like a really big race tire. It's a 9.5-inch slick.
Yeah.
And he's running, I think he's broken into the 7s in that car.
Man, it's so crazy.
With a stick and that small of a tire. It's like people who are trying to cut up 11-second cars to fit a bigger tire. It's like, no, you need to just figure out what you're doing.
and 1,500 horsepower stick shift on a 9.5-inch wide tire is pretty impressive. All that comes down to clutch management and power management as well. Rich is a fun dude, and I made a post the other day talking about, how much more would people race if they didn't have a $50,000 truck and $30,000 trailer? And that wasn't a dig at anyone. Okay, I want to put that out there. I passed a guy that had this super nice truck and this really nice trailer. I'm like, man, that's cool. Man, if I had, and this is, putting my experience in there, 828 best for Rich.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, man, if I had a big, nice truck and big, nice trailer, that would definitely cost me personally time, right? So that's why I don't have a big, nice truck and a big, nice trailer, because I couldn't do what I do with that kind of stuff. So that's why I don't have that kind of stuff when I build street cars.
Yeah. I don't know if it went around a long time, and it probably still goes around. It was like a little meme, and it was a rich drag racer will pull into his stacker trailer and grab a cold drink out of the fridge in the trailer and complain about how expensive racing is, and then the normal guy will pull his car back up onto the open deck trailer and grab something out of the cooler and just talk about what a great time he just had.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we see it a bunch. I live in two different worlds. I live in pro mod stuff, and then I live in drag and drive stuff. And that was what the other side of that was really cool about that conversation was all the people in there. They're like, dude, I have a $5,000 truck and a $3,000 trailer, and I bought both of them 20 years ago, so that was a lot of fun to go through all that stuff. But all right, well, that kind of wraps up our notes there. What else do you want to add about that conversation, about how hard it is to race fast cars?
I think we pretty much covered it all. Did you have anything you wanted to add? I mean, there's also like your fuel mileage and
cool. Don't even talk about that. We don't talk about fuel mileage in drag and drive.
It's like I thought 12 miles to the gallon was bad, and then Jake's telling me he gets 6 miles to the gallon in the Mustang on E85, and it's like, oh my God, it's just, and that's another cost thing too, is how much does all that fuel cost, and if you're bringing a bunch of that fuel with you, how much does all that fuel weigh on the trailer, and how much of your trailer space are you giving up just to fuel, just to make sure you make it to the next fuel stop?
Well, and think about that. If you have a 10-gallon fuel cell, which would be, or let's say a 15-gallon fuel cell, and you get 6 miles to the gallon, you're not running that thing empty. So you're going about 70 miles in that car. That's about as far as you want to go anyways. So that's at 50 miles an hour. That's an hour and 20 minutes. So every hour and 20 minutes. Yeah. No matter how far you're going, you have to stop. In your car that you drive every day, if you took it on a trip, you can go 300 miles without stopping if you wanted to. I typically can go 250 without having to stop. So I'm going to drive Steven nuts this weekend with that, but that's the way it goes. The only thing I would add is a lot of people have this idea that they want to go out and instantly go to the front of the class. I think that's, we talk about 850 stuff here all the time, and I love it. That class to me is the best class in drag and drive because they look like regular cars. They are badass. They're front running electronics. I mean, all that kind of, those guys are tuning to the absolute number, right? But that car is a hard car to build if you're going to do this for your first time. So that's why with Eric's Mustang, our goal is to go 10.0s. 10.0 is pretty easy. You can do that with 600 horsepower, something like 700 horsepower, which his car will make way more than that will. But we can dial in, and it'd be easy to run 10.0s relatively quickly, and we can do it for a lot less money. So, guys, to run 850, if you weigh 32 to 3,500 pounds, you need to make 12 to 1,500 horsepower. That's a lot. That's a completely different car than 700. Like, you can do 700 with, you're leaning on a stock bottom end setup to drive it 1,000 miles and run 10.0s. You're leaning on it pretty hard without some good parts in there somewhere. But you can still drive that 10.0 car much easier. There's no exotic parts that it takes to get there, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm really excited about this build with Eric's Mustang, is because I hope that it will drive some more people to just get in your damn car and go race. Because obviously everybody talks about the class winners. They talk about all the records it set, all that kind of stuff. But like that dude that's running 12.0 index at Rocky Mountain Race Week, he already has that car, right? He already has that. Or DYO at Sick Week, which is great, Sick Week, Sick Summer, because, dude, DYO, you can run a 12.32 every time. And if you're a hell of a bracket racer, now you can go win that class and be competitive with your 12-second car and have some fun. So,
yeah, it's definitely way better. Just get out with what you have, and then set goals for yourself. Say, like my goal this year is I want to break into the sixes in the 8th mile, and I want to go 100 miles an hour. I've been 99.8. My goal is to go 100 miles an hour, and also shout out Chris Wozniak, because he and I are pretty close in what we've been running, and hopefully we both make it to 666. I want to beat him. Like I don't really care what my class is, because there's going to be, especially at the 8th mile, there's not a good class for me to fit in, but I can just pick someone that I'm close to and say, no, I'm going to kick your ass this year. And then maybe next year make plans to improve the car. Like I've been toying with the idea of putting nitrous on it to try and get it into the mid sixes after we max out what we're doing naturally aspirated. And it's just keep stepping it up and stepping it up and stepping it up, rather than trying to build something all out right out of the gate. Cause then you're going to be building the car for 4 years while everyone else is having fun.
Preach, brother. Preach it. That's what I say all the time. Just get that thing going. The turbo in the old truck didn't happen. I drove it for a year and a half before I put the turbo kit on, and I built the turbo kit outside the truck on an engine stand with a mock-up motor, and then put it all in the span of about a month and a half. So, well, cool, dude. I've had a good time today, man. I appreciate your openness, willingness to come on here, kind of hang out with me and do this. You made great notes, man. I appreciate the topics and stuff like that. So you're welcome back anytime. And guys, again, Cole runs right here on Drag Drive Repeat. We do the live stream, but you also have your own channel as well. So give yourself a shout out to that stuff and let everybody know where they can follow you there.
Yeah, Cole Buckner's Garage on YouTube. Got a few videos up there from Six Smokies up to now, and going to be working on one soon of getting this thing running for the second time in 2 months and rebuilding an engine for the second time in 2 months. So if you have any questions about Mopar small block oil systems, I am very well versed now. So please don't hesitate to reach out.
Dude, that's awesome.
I've made just about every mistake you can make on that, so I will happily help you out with any notes I've got.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate it for sure. And guys, one last thing here. Just want to say thank you so much for being here. We've had great numbers this morning. I appreciate all the comments this morning. Everybody in here jumping in. Last thing here, so Rich Guido says, yeah, having a buddy who's close to your time is the best of times. Bill and I being 0.017 after 5 days of racing is awesome. Great show, fellas. I'll go subscribe, Cole. Please do that. Cole Buckner's Garage. You guys definitely want to keep up with him. This won't be your last time being on here on the show or news. And then, of course, you can find him on Live from the Shop, which typically happens Thursdays, Tuesdays, Fridays, whenever he can fit it in, which is just like you guys out there. He'll jump on here and do some live stream stuff. So thanks for being our race car friends. We appreciate it. And thank you so much to our sponsors. If you guys are shopping, please hit these guys up. Summit Racing, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, Avco Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, Power Tube TV, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Guys, we'll see you Wednesday night. We got Brian Loans. I'm so freaking excited about this. And Mike Galemi. This is going to be nerd stat central for the first half, and then we're going to be telling stories about Drag Week and all the fun history that goes on with their 20 years, dude. 20 years. It's going to be awesome. All right. See you guys.
See you.